Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone watching. It's time for the four-digit World Cup semifinals. First matchup of the weekend between Australia and Japan here in the losers bracket. I'm Dio. I'm going to be casting this match alongside the totally unbiased and here for the content Mavs. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Dio. Yeah, totally unbiased. Definitely not going in just knowing the front and back of this Australian roster, really. I mean, unfortunately, not as knowledgeable or well-versed in the ins and outs of this Japanese roster, but there are players on this Japanese roster, of course, that I do recognize, especially from last OWC, and also even some from OWC. Obviously, you've got players like Altaline on there, 4-Dash, very, very good, very consistent Japanese player as well. So, yeah, a few players in here in this Japanese roster that are a big standout for me, but this Australian roster, I mean, I know every player so well on this team. I'm excited to see them play again this week, and man, they've had a tough bracket so far. I'll give them that. Go from USA last weekend to possibly going into a matchup against Canada in this following match if they win this and Canada wins their match. So brutal road ahead for the Australians, but wishing the best for them.
Yeah, it's definitely not been the easiest bracket for either of these teams as well. Japan last week, they're seed 12, right? They faced seed 15 and seed 13 in the losers bracket last weekend, England and UK. Like, those are two also very close matchups, right? So it's not been a super easy time for either of these teams, unfortunately. In fact, Japan has had a really tough road because in losers round 1, they also had to face Chile, who were seed 5 and were upset in round of 32 by Spain, seed 28. So they were seed 12 versus 28 seed 12 versus seed 5 in losers round 1, and they still managed to win that matchup. So this has been a tough bracket for both of these teams. Japan here with a full losers bracket run, and Australia just coming from the winners bracket, as you said, after that loss to the United States, which, understandable. Very tough team for anyone to beat in this tournament.
Yeah, very understandable loss. I mean, doing pretty well, though, mind you. A 6-3 loss for Australia, and none of the points they lost were, that crazy. They were convincing margins from the US, 300k margins, roughly, but it was definitely in the ballpark. It was in the realm of possibility for them to take that match, but dropping down, and like you said, Japan here, taking down Chile in that first round. I mean, that's already a big feat in itself, taking out the number 5 seed in the first round of losers, and then just having close, difficult matchups to follow, and now versing a seed number 9, again coming in as the underdogs on paper. But gonna be interested to see when we get into the bands here shortly. I know we were talking about it a little bit in the pre-match, what we can expect to see from this match. And I think the general consensus overall, before we delve more into the details, is I think this Australian roster is going to be looking more at these gimmicky reading type picks, possibly these free mods and also the hard rocks, whereas Japan probably going to be opting more into those mechanics, possibly alt maps and the DTs.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you just look at the qualifier results and it's pretty obvious exactly where these teams want to go. But a little bit of knowledge about the rosters can carry you a long way, as a lot of the Japanese players very, very strong on stuff like the Nomad 1, Nomad 2, Nomad 5, as well as some of the more alt-focused maps, stuff like the Nomad 3 and Nomad 6 in this pool. And the DTs, of course, lots of very good DT players on Japan's team. Whereas for Australia, they have like 3 easy players on the team, so Japan should be double banning rating here. And then the rest of the pool being kind of open at that point between some of the other hiddens, the hard rocks, and the free mods. I'll say it's a slight underdog matchup here for Japan as seed 12 versus seed 9, but seed 12 and 9 are expected to go out in the first losers bracket round in semifinals. So somebody here is going to be overperforming their seeding in the tournament overall, regardless of who wins. You win this match and you're guaranteed top 8 as a finish in four-digit World Cup. So somebody is overperforming their seeding in qualifiers. It's a question of which of these teams actually gets through.
Yeah, and regardless of which team does, it's looking likely that they will probably go up against Canada, as it's going to be the winner of Canada versus Taiwan. And I mean, that's seed number 3 up against seed number 21. And at this stage in the tournament, I mean, you obviously got to give favor towards the Canadians in that matchup. So Either way, a very, very tough matchup for whichever team actually goes through here. It would be very impressive to see either of them push past even the semifinals period. So, yeah, very, very excited to see that.
Funny enough, if Japan wins this and somehow Taiwan also beats Canada, we get a rematch of round of 32, where Taiwan was actually the team that knocked Japan into a loser's bracket in round of 32. So that would be, I think, a very interesting end to this. Personally, I have friends on the Australian roster, so I'm rooting for the Australian roster, but I think Japan winning and Taiwan winning and upsetting both of the teams in this tournament that I'm actually rooting for would be possibly the most interesting outcome for these two matches.
I mean, hey man, Taiwan early round, what can you do? You can't blame Japan there. Because Taiwan is just notoriously always just one of the best teams in the tournament in any World Cup at early round. They just are. It's so stupid. But Ban's coming out here, and it's looking like, it's going to be Japan obviously taking out that No Mod 6. It's going to be an overlap low AR aim map. That makes sense. 3 easy players on the Australian roster, as you said. That map is just going to be so easy for them. It's not going to be any problem. And then Australia taking out No Mod 2 and DT3. So getting rid of some streams there, 200 BPM streams, and also taking out that speed map.
Yep, and then Hidden 2 as the second ban for Japan as well. Again, no real surprises from any of the bans here from either team. It's 2 low AR reading bans from Japan and 2 speed mechanics bans from Australia. Nothing to be surprised about, or I guess not speed for the No Mod 2, but tapping mechanics bans from Australia. Rid by Tanshiki also is kind of techie speed DT as well. So while yes, it's a speed map, it's also kind of high AR tech control a little bit, which makes it just that little bit more complicated than you would really want it to be if you are a team that's not super strong on that speed, right? And of course, for Australia, we're going to get a first pick, Hidden 3, the Tech Stream Hidden map, 6.9 stars, 186 BPM, and only AR 9.4, so a little bit of density here, but mostly about that hidden flowing control.
Yeah, love to see these maps come out in matches when I'm casting, especially. It was notoriously some of my favorite maps to play, and we're gonna get it here. First pick from Australia. Love to see it. It's so funny, the contrast in, I guess, teams between the OWC roster and the 4WC roster with Australia, like nowadays. It just feels like it's almost completely opposite in what they want to pick. In Australia, in 4WC here, they're just loving these hidden threes, loving these reading maps. We're getting one right off the rip, and yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty good pick, one of their better picks to go into early on here. Curious to see exactly the roster they're going to field.
And I think that's just a function of rank range, right? Like, in open rank, you need the high mechanics players, because if you don't have that, it's a prerequisite to play the pools, right? Like, you just don't get to play the pools if you're not at a certain level. And trying to also be a ridiculous reading player on top of that is very difficult. There's a reason that players like Ekoro, for example, are so highly regarded in open rank tournaments, is because doing both of those things at the same time is extremely difficult to do. It makes a lot of sense that for some teams, they're going to be just completely different from higher ranking OWC rosters, because you don't need those super high mechanics in 4-digit World Cup. It's somewhat of a requirement, right? Like, these pools scale harder than any other 4-digit tournament, but at the same time, they're not open rank pools. So you get rosters and switch ups like this Australian roster that are so much better on some of the reading maps and unconventional stuff in the pool. And I don't think too many big surprises here for Australia. Bromethil Blue, Exterminates, Haller, and O/Slash in for the Australian roster here.
Yeah, and for the Japanese roster, 2 very, very familiar names. If you followed really World Cups in general over the past couple of years, 4dash and Altaline, 2 OWC players for that Japanese roster, and very, very consistent, very good players. Was an OWC, I remember, quite recently. I don't know if it was last year or the year prior, where 4dash just went absolutely insane, and was actually like carrying them. So really good players. Of course, joined by Riku and Karnu in HIP. And here we go, getting into the hidden 3.
Yeah, Rikuyama also a player to look out for. The team captain for Japan this year, and somebody who's had a lot of very good tournament performances in the past. Maybe not in the US World Cup, but in a lot of ranked restricted tournaments in particular, has been very, very solid for pretty much any Japanese team, as a lot of Japanese teams tend to be pretty much full Japan in lots of ranked restricted tournaments. Early break from O/Slash here on the side of Australia, but shouldn't matter too much. Only about 110 combo down from that FC, and still early days at this point. There goes Outlean on the chain miss in the top right. So combo now in the favor of Australia, but there goes Brummethle Blue as well. So another couple of misses coming out from Australia. Outlean to match, and it's 3 FCs for Japan, 2 for Australia. But again, O/Slash very close to that FC, does find another miss, and now it's just Extremities and Powler holding on to those full combos for Australia. 4-dash, Rikuima, and Karnui also holding on to those FCs for Japan, a third of the way in. So good combo lead for Japan, but the score lead not too big yet, only about 30k.
Yeah, that miss there, the trade definitely favoring Japan, with Altalene already breaking earlier in the map. Australia losing one of their huge combos. There goes Altalene again with an enormous chain miss, and his score is down very low in comparison to the rest of the lobby. But there goes Extremities as well, actually dropping the combo. That's one of the huge combos gone for Australia. Altalene unable to hold on to anything, but there goes 4-dash, one of the big FCs down for Japan. And Karnui actually missing as well. Very, very recently there.
Powler is gone as well, though, and there goes O/Slash, and now it's just Rikuima on the full combo. That's the only FC left in the lobby. As long as Rikuima can hold, the captain for this Japanese roster can maybe bring them through to the ending, but he finds the side break as well, and it's Brummethle Blue with the only big combo in the whole lobby, 200 max combo on anyone else, just 4-dash at that margin for Japan, and Brummethle Blue now able to carry Australia a little bit further ahead. He finds the chain miss, and it's just back and forth, trades all over the place between these two rosters.
It's 4-dash with the combo, but he drops as well. The lead, it's going to flicker over to the side of Australia. Extremities, the only combo in the entire lobby is on Extremities with the 93% accuracy. He is going to do enough to pull the lead here for Australia with this free combo at the ending. It seems like Australia are going to take their first pick by a minuscule margin off the back of Extremities holding the only remaining combo in this lobby. That was back and forth constantly at the ending there. What is that stream? Oh my god. Wait, that was losable on that ending stream.
Yeah, it definitely was.
If we had players if we had chain misses there, it could have gone over, but wow. Well done, Extremities there, holding on, the only one to hold on.
Yeah, very close first pick for Australia, but they do manage to pull it out. A couple of big combos from Brummethle Blue and Extremities there at the end. But players like Rikuima and 4-dash making it really close for the side of Japan. So good start to this match. Australia do win their own first pick. So on paper, as expected, but very, very close in the way in which they won it. So definitely not by any means guaranteed picks for Australia going into the rest of this match. Japan, meanwhile, I think you're just looking at stuff like the Nomad 5, the DT2, as a couple of those first picks here. Players like Sabakan, Outlean, 4-dash, all very, very good on those DT mechanics picks. So I think not really any question where they're going to be going here.
A scary first pick from Australia. I think, you know, as you said, Japan bringing it extremely, extremely close within a 40k margin, but Japan, they're notoriously not bad at maps like that either. Like, they have good players on those types of hidden techie picks, and as you saw there, almost bringing the early breakpoint, but of course it's O2, and in O2 it doesn't matter if you win by 1 point or if you win by 1 million, so Australia are going to go up 1-0 regardless of how close that was, and as you said, it's going to be the Nomad 5, everything will freeze coming out from Japan, hitting it straight into that speed.
Yeah, no surprise here. You're just picking the speed of Japan for now. You saw a double ban on mechanics from Australia early on. Nothing surprising whatsoever about this. Funny you mentioned that. I have seen some tournaments where the margin by which you win affects how many points you get on the board.
Yeah,
for a pick. I have seen, like, you know, yeah, if you win by 1 million points, you get 2 or 3 points, right? So it's kind of interesting. You can make rules around that, but for the most part, the vast majority of tournaments, yeah, if you win by 1 point or 1 million, doesn't really matter. You still get a point on the board. So in this case, Australia just happy to get that point on the board, I think, with how close that map was. And a lot of people may be practicing the map outside the lobby right now. There's only 3 people actually in the lobby right now. Sephi Altaline and Dumb Andy in the lobby at the moment. I don't really know the speed roster for Australia too well. I know Extremities can play speed, does a lot of easy DT, for example, so kind of assume he's in, but the rest of the roster I'm not so sure on for this team.
Yeah, for the most part, the Australian speed roster, it's going to be someone like Sephi, who's come in as kind of like the speed one trick for the roster this year. Just in on pretty much any tapping, any speed map. Dumb Andy, very, very solid on these speed picks as well, especially the more no-mod-centric ones. O/, of course, is going to be in for these. And yeah, then it's going to be kind of that flex slot, like you said. Extremities, he can play it, and he is going to be coming in here for this one, it seems, but they've got a couple flex players for those tapping slots, and this time around it's going to be Extremities. But Japan, they're going to have their roster in for speed. It's going to be Altaline, Nobuchi, Rikuima, and Mitage in for this one, it seems, as we get ready to get into this No Mod 5.
I don't think super surprising roster for Japan. At minimum, you expect Altaline and Rikuima in for all of these speed maps. And then similar to the Australian roster, I think just kind of fill slots for the last two. Extremities here to 93 AC FC this map. Maybe 93 is generous looking at the intro. I don't know, man. But early days, some act troubles for a few people. Mitage, Extremities, and Dumb Andy all struggling on the accuracy at the start of this map here. And an early combo break for Dumb Andy as well. So just getting into it, a little bit of an advantage for Japan on the accuracy and combo alone. Another miss for Dumb Andy there on one of the jumps. But Outlane will match that. So combo traded for either of these teams. And Nobuchi and Mitage, actually, three-way break for Japan already. So combo lead squarely with Australia at the moment. It's just Rikuima holding the FC on 98, sure. But Sephi and O/ doing really well on the accuracy as well, up at the 97 mark. So looking solid for Australia at the moment, but that accuracy is doing a lot of work keeping the score on the side of Japan. Everybody above 95, and 3 members 97 or above for Japan.
Yeah, perhaps some early shakes for the Japanese roster as they find a few breaks, but there goes Nobuchi again on the more streamier section. And as well as Extremities actually trades it out. One of the big combos down for Australia. Trade there is going to favor Japan, but Australia, they are going to take the lead. They've still got 2 FCs intact compared to just the 1 from Rikuima. Dumb Andy as well, building that 450 recovery, matching Mitage. Things looking pretty close as we approach the second half of the map, but things are going to stay in the favor of Australia, assuming these 2 FCs can hold.
Yeah, that's a big assumption, though. You do have Outlane breaking once again for Japan, though, so it does look pretty good for the Australian roster at this point. It's just Rikuima on the full combo and Mitage on a good support. But you have Sephi and O/ on the FCs for Australia with Dumb Andy as that matching combo for Mitage. And there goes Rikuima. That's the last FC down for Japan. This pick backfiring majorly for Japan at the moment, and I don't think you can even blame them as more misses come through for Outlane and Nobuchi there. Actually, Nobuchi's was Bancho, so do get to keep one major combo for the side of Japan. And as I was saying, I don't even think you can blame them. We were predicting speed picks. Australia double banning speed against this Japanese roster as well, right? Double banning the Nomad 2, sure, not speed, but tapping strain, and the DT3 against this Japanese roster. So by all measures, you're predicting these speed picks to come through for Japan and for them to be better than Australia on it. But right now, it's 350,000 score and growing in the favor of Australia as Sephi does find a miss, but O/ continuing to hold this full combo. Dumb Andy on a massive recovery. Extremities on 1,000 combo as well. Just huge combo across the board for Australia.
But there goes another one of them. Extremities is down, but I mean, it's still the FC from O/ and the uncontested 1,400 plus combo from Dumb Andy. And O/ is doing what O/ does best. He finally finds a miss there, though. I immediately
there goes everyone, by the way.
Yeah,
everyone besides
Rikuima.
Rikuima.
Those ending streams are ridiculous. Rikuima holding on through them quite well. I mean, yeah, just a nice classic O/ performance. Kind of carrying some of the maps on 4WC last year. Seems to be doing the same thing this year on a few of these maps so far this tournament. Just doing very, very well. But great supporting scores as well. Sephi, one of the newer players coming in, huge score. And Rikuima putting up, and Mitage as well. Going a little quietly there in the corner, putting up a 1,500 combo as well. Huge score from Mitage. But yeah, I mean, Australia, just well played.
Yeah, very well played from them. And unfortunately for Japan, that first pick not working out in their favor. The higher seeded team does start off 2-0 in this matchup. And as predicted, the 91 act from Extremities coming through, doing what he needs to do on that map. I got to rib him a little bit, but yeah, Fremont2, the next pick for Australia. I mean, no surprises here, right? You pick the hidden 3 first. It's very close. You go into something maybe a little bit more comfortable for a roster that wants to play these low approach rate picks.
Yeah, and this one's going to be like an A or 8 grid aim type beat. I don't know if we're going to see any easies come out for Australia. Would be excited to see, like we said before, they do have 3 easy players. This is the kind of map where you possibly could see some easy coming out. So curious to see, it'd be exciting to see what happens there. It's not often you actually get to see easy players generally in tournaments, in 4v4s like this. So.
Yeah,
but,
I think
I think... Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if there's any free mod 2 or, anti-mod free mod pick where easy is even more advantage, it's probably this one. This is CS 5.4. So this is, CS 7 with the Hard Rock. The strain on Hard Rock is more significant than the strain on Hidden. So I think a lot of players who can take easy are going to be happy to do so on this map, and that just goes doubly so for a roster that actually wants to play easy like Australia's.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see Extremities in the lobby here. Only one of their 3 easy players stepping in, so possibly might get a second. No, it's going to be O/in. Just looks like it's probably going to be the one easy for Australia, but Japan's still sorting out that roster. And yeah, I mean, a previous speed pick, I think, when we talk about those bans, obviously Australia taking out tapping strain, taking out speed, and the high AR, it's kind of, I think, more of a case of they feel that this is what Japan is very strong on, evidently from those qualifiers as well. And so they just want to take it out, just because Japan is really good on this, rather than the fact that the Australian roster can't play the skill set. I think they're pretty solid on it still. Obviously not their strongest skill set with this roster specifically, but it's still playable. As you saw, there are 2 players who did extremely well and a third who did pretty well too. And then, it's still a decent score from the 4th. So definitely not bad on those tapping picks.
No, definitely not, but definitely not something they prefer either. So,
yeah.
We'll see. And we do actually have JG swapping in for
wait a sec.
The last minute for Australia. So probably at least double easy for Australia, if I had to guess. Rikuma, Sabakan, 4-, and Autoline in for Japan. Not sure the exact mod combination they're going to be going here, but a lot of the star players for the Japanese roster with Rikuma, 4-, and Autoline all in at the moment. And Sabakan, kind of the new up-and-comer in the Japanese tournament scene. I'm not super familiar with Sabakan as a player, but I know he's been popping off recently, so excited to see Sabakan's first map in this match.
Yeah, excited to see how he does. New and upcomers, just love to see him. So many new upcomers in Australia as well, just recently. A couple of them in this lobby already as well. Hala, Dumb Andy. Very, very new players. But yeah, I'm curious to see if we actually do see a double easy here. JGLF could very well just be taking, like, a no mod, but we'll see. Yeah, looks like it.
Does look like no mod, as the client is refusing to load 4 out of 8 players at the moment. That is crazy. So yeah, we're gonna get the panic button, surely, streamer, please. We're gonna need the panic button at the moment. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, OQ.
There we go.
It's actually double hard rock for Australia and double hard rock for Japan as well. Exact same mod combo, actually. 1 easy, 2 hard rock, 1 no mod for both teams at the moment. But 4-, already finding a miss, Sabakan finding a miss on the hard rock, Paler finding a miss on the hard rock, and Rikuima missing early on that hard rock as well. So combo advantage squarely with Australia. 3 FCs to only 1 on Autoline with the no mod for Japan at the moment.
I love to see the 2 easies coming out here, 1 either side. 4-, ripping out that easy as well. We move into this first key section of the map. Autoline going to be dropping one of the combos. There goes Sabakan though as well. Down JGLF 2, Palar as well. Many people dropping in this section, but the easy players still holding. Extremities has that FC. 4- missing earlier in that map. And these combos from Dumb Andy and Rikuima as well doing work, both on the hard rocks, but the lead is going to slightly stay in the favor of Australia as we get into this ridiculous to read section with easy. Oh, there goes 4- on the easy. He's down.
And now it's just two big combos for Australia, two FCs with Dumb Andy and Extremities both holding those FCs, and Rikuima alone on the Hard Rock with that big combo for Japan. Altaline and Paler matching with those combos as well. Another break for Sabakan. So more of that combo lead to the side of Australia. JG matching 4-dash, and now 4-dash actually missing as well. So this pick just working out very well for Australia so far. It's not a huge score lead. It's only 130k. So definitely still winnable for Japan if they manage to make a comeback happen. But there's quite a lot of combo on Australia that is unmatched at the moment. You've got Paler matching Altaline. And actually, Paler finding a miss there. Rikuima, though, trading it. And that is a big combo gone for Japan now. And Altaline also missing. And so it's just two massive unmatched FCs for Australia now. Nobody above 300 combo for Japan. And there goes Rikuima. There goes Dumb Andy. Does drop that Hard Rock full combo, but I think maybe has done enough at this point as Extremities still FCing on the easy, even through sections like that.
God.
Like these overlaps on easy are not simple, man.
Absolute monster Extremities, man. On the 99 as well. Just perfectly memorized. It's just so impressive to see. You look at the combos in the lobby, and Extremities up and over 1k on that easy is unreal. Man, Rikuima, yeah, having to hold on to that combo for there to be even any chance, and even still, I just don't think it was doable at this point. But there goes Extremities, he is down. But of course, Australia, they've already won this pick. Just very impressive to see that near FC come out on the easy there.
Yeah, unfortunately, even with that break from Extremities, nothing Japan can do in this map with just a sliver of combo left. And that is going to be a win by 300k for Australia. Nicely played from them. Big Hard Rock combo from Dumb Andy, plus the obviously huge easy score from Extremities, doing a lot of work. Nearly 400k on easy. Actually beating out 3 out of 4 members on Japan without the easy multiplier for Extremities. Just goes to show exactly how good of a score that is. Kind of crazy. And unfortunately for Japan, not the pick that they would have wanted to see here from Australia. It's a 3-0 lead at the start for the Aussies. So Japan on the back foot really do want to win this pick. If you go down 2 breakpoints this early on and give up a 4-0 lead, the rest of the match just becomes so much harder.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to win this pick. It's pretty much non-negotiable. What they're going to go for, though, I'm not too sure. Obviously, they lost that Nomad 5. Do you maybe pivot more into the DT style of tapping? Maybe you try it again. Maybe you go something like DT2 this time. Or do you pivot elsewhere? Something like the Nomad 3, maybe into some more raw mechanics. Not too sure what they're going to be looking at, but
I think with the DT3 ban as well, maybe you want to pivot into something like the DT4 or the DT1, right? Give them something a little bit more difficult to read, either the higher approach rate or the DT tech map in this pool. If you want the higher approach rate, you're going to DT1. If you want the more tech-focused sort of map, you're going to DT4. So maybe they roll that way. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, if they want to go tapping once again, you go into DT2, the finger control stamina hybrid map there. See exactly where they want to go. Again, it was double tapping bans for Australia, so wouldn't be surprised if they just stick with the DT2. But for now, I think, yeah, it is going to be that DT4 actually, going with something a little bit trickier in that DT pool. This is not high BPM. It's only 176 BPM. So very low BPM, more like DT alt tech, but something that is going to be a little bit more unconventional for the DT4 pick here from Japan, maybe trying to throw off some of those typical DT players from Australia.
Yeah, this is a really weird map to see, like, in a pool as well, because generally when you get these techie styled, almost reading type DT maps, they're usually like above AR10, and that's like generally the case, especially like at this stage in the tournament. We've already had them like high AR DT maps in this kind of slot, but this time around it was actually the speed pick in that DT3 that was the high AR. So this one, it's kind of coming in at a weird AR 9.7, which is just not super normal, but definitely something that's going to be readable for Australia, but like you said, still going to be tricky. So I'm curious to see how this one's going to pan out. Honestly, to me, this one seems kind of like a coin flip, but I can't blame Japan going into it at this stage of the match. You know, they're down 3-0. They got to pivot somewhere, and this is where they're going to decide to pivot. So we'll have to see if it works out for them. They know more about their roster than I do on this map, so probably feeling fairly comfortable to go for this one over something like the No Mod 3, which, well, you know, they were number 1 on in qualifiers, by the way, so surely have something up their sleeve here for this DT4.
We'll see what that something is. O/, Demandi, Power, and Extremities already in the roster for Australia. Japan waiting on a couple of others. Rikuima and Autoline once again staying in for this map. I think no surprises whenever you see them in any map in this match. But going to be waiting on 2 others here. It's going to be Sabakan as a third. I don't think super surprising. While Sabakan can play speed, I think a lot of what Sabakan is good at is more of the kind of aim control stuff. And it is 4-dash once again for Japan. So just, again, the 3 star players and the new up-and-comer for Japan on this map. See how this shakes out for both of these rosters. You have kind of an interesting roster for Australia here, where you have some players who I don't think would normally be in on some of the same maps together for this one.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes to show the, I guess, unconventional type of map that's in this slot this week, right? It's like you generally don't have many maps in a pool where you're going to see those players with opposing skill sets in for the same map. And we're kind of seeing that here, just a weird combination of players in on this one, almost looking a bit like their Hard Rock roster is in on this DT4. So here we go, getting into it though. Extremities with an early break, as well as Autoline.
And Sabakan as well, very start of the map.
Yeah.
Rikuima also finding a drop now for Japan once again. So it's just 4-dash on the FC, 3 FCs for Australia. O/ will trade. It's Demandi and Paler versus just Sabakan with a high combo for Japan, as 4-dash now also dropping. And there goes Sabakan as well now. It's Autoline on 200 combo, and that's it for Japan already early on. A third of the way in, by the way. This is a very, very short map, so these early breaks mattering quite a lot. It's almost a 200,000 score lead for Australia already, with the 2 FCs from Demandi and Fowler still holding strong, and Extremities still beating out the combo from Autoline. That's the highest combo on Japan as well. So this is not going well, this second pick for Japan so far. They're going to need to find some very good combos here in the back half of this map and pray for some misses to come through on the Australian side.
Yeah, I mean, just the 2 FCs still unhindered right now, not faltering, as we're already 2/3 through this map. We only have a third left, and I mean, Extremities, who is the player not FCing on Australia, already has a higher combo than everyone on Japan, but he does drop it, and so does Pala. So does O/. 3 combos gone for Australia. 4-dash and Autoline are there, but there goes 4-dash. Demandi versus Autoline, and Demandi, unfortunately, with this lead already accrued from the Australians, I just think there's not going to be much of a chance, unfortunately, here for Japan, even if Demandi is to break this FC.
Yeah, and that just doesn't seem to be happening. Autoline does find the drop here near the end, but Demandi still holding on for the Australian roster. 94 AC be damned. Full combo is full combo.
Yeah.
Doesn't even crest 1 million by the end of the map, but finishes it out with that FC and does a lot of work for the Australian roster. But even then, the lowest score on Australia from Extremities still above that 500k mark, right up there with 4-dash. So with 2 scores above 700k, Australia sitting pretty on that one. Very, very nicely done from them. And unfortunately for Japan, that is a 4-0 lead to the Australian roster with next pick as well. So if they're able to convert this next pick, they're going to be at match point the entirety of this match.
2 of the fresh new players for Australia there. Pala and Demandi coming in with the S ranks, 700k and 1 million score respectively. Very, very well done from those guys to put another point on the board here. This is looking very scary now for Japan. I mean, we said they needed that pick, and yeah, they really did. I mean, it's going to have to take a fumble here from Australia for Japan to even get back into this match. To see a 5-0 comeback would be, I mean, it's probably not happening.
Reverse sweeps are very rare for a reason.
Yeah.
They do not happen all that often. So it's always possible, but never probable, right?
Of course.
And for Australia, I think just looking at the rest of this pool, right, you have options. You have the hidden one, you have the whole Hard Rock pool, which we said, their Hard Rock roster actually very, very strong for Australia. And you have these 2 free mods left. Something like the free mod 3, I think, similar enough to that hidden 3 first pick that you can be relatively comfortable picking into that. So I think there's a lot of options left here for Australia. Japan is a very good alt team, but I think still being pretty comfortable on something like that free mod 3 is a good shout for Australia. But quite a lot of picks to go through here, and it's going to be the Hard Rock 2 finally picking into that Hard Rock pool for Australia.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too surprised to see this one. Japan in the qualifiers were ranked 26 on the small circle Hard Rock pick, whereas Australia came 3rd. So not too surprised to see Australia going for this one with possibly their last pick of the match, going into something very, very strong where they feel, hey, we're going to do pretty well on this, and Japan probably isn't. So we'll see. Japan always can surprise us on something like this. You know how it tends to go with small circle maps, even in qualifiers and in matches oftentimes. This can go both ways. Japan could have just had a bit of an unlucky run in those qualifiers on the small circles, got nervous. You can kind of just miss on anything. And, other way around, Australia in this match could have a rough go of things. They could find some random misses. Always tends to be the case with CS 6.5 and above. So,
yeah, absolutely. I will say it's kind of interesting. We've seen Hidden 3. Obviously, No Mod 5 is kind of, but we've seen Hidden 3, Free Mod 2, DT 4 so far. All of these are, you've got 186, but it's stream tech for the Hidden 3. 172 BPM on the Free Mod 2 and 176 BPM on the DT4, and now another low BPM Hard Rock 2 pick here. I feel like maybe if you're Japan, you look at this and you say, okay, yeah, we lost on speed, but this Australian roster seems very confident on the kind of flow aim control tech sort of stuff, because that's what this Hard Rock 2 is doing, right? Yeah, it's a precision map, but it's also alt tech hybrid, very similar to the DT4 that we just played. So maybe you see all of this and you go, hey, let's just DT1 No Mod 1 surely as the next pick. I feel like maybe that's actually the move, because while yes, you did lose the No Mod 5, the rest of the picks in this pool, and more importantly, all 3 of Australia's picks so far in the Hidden 3, the Free Mod 2, and the Hard Rock 2 have all been low BPM.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think at the point in the match where if they do go down 0-5 here, if you have a feeling that maybe a No Mod 1, maybe a DT1 is a good shout, which usually teams are very hesitant to pick into, understandably, as those kind of slots can be a little bit coin flippy sometimes. You kind of just send it. You're down 0-5, you just send it. You don't hesitate with a pick like that at this point. You kind of just go for something you feel could work out, and if it does work out, you can play off that for the rest of the match and hope things work out for you. But Hard Rock 2 coming in, like you said, I mean, this is kind of a bit of a flowy, more ulti-techy type of small CS map, so there's definitely room for mistakes, there's definitely room for slip-ups, especially on CS 6.5, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this go either way on any day. Anything could happen on a map like this.
Early misses for Dalcorn. I think first map we're seeing Dalcorn in this match as well. Rikuima also finding an early drop for the side of Japan. So 3 FCs, 2-3. Damandi, Paler, and O-Slash versus 4- Nobuchi and Sabakan on the side of Japan. More of these very snappy alt patterns, actually. Not a lot of flow in this. It's so many snap patterns. Only Dalcorn missing so far for Australia, whereas Rikuima and Nobuchi both resetting during the spam double section. Very, very tricky section. And honestly surprised that everyone from Australia is actually hitting this. Damandi and Paler, by the way, are on 90 and 92% accuracy. It's just O-Slash at 96, but Japan not faring too much better. 93 for 4-, 93 for Rikuima, 93 for Sabakan, and Nobuchi on the high accuracy at 97 does drop the combo now as well. It's just Sabakan on the FC versus what is now 1 FC for Australia. Paler and O-Slash both breaking there. Damandi, the only big combo. So actually very close, but there goes Sabakan as well. So now it's only Australia with any big combo in this lobby, and nobody above 100 combo for Japan. Sabakan and Rikuima just now cresting that mark.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like there was a chance, but with Sabakan dropping that combo, it's now looking more and more grim as Damandi continues to hold on through these doubles. And Man, I mean, this does just look like a really, really brutal map to axe. So I do not blame these low acts in the lobby. I mean, Nobuchi and Osash's accuracy right now are super impressive. Both of these guys on 95 plus. Very, very well done. But I mean, Dumb Andy, just going crazy, man. Up and comer, new player. Putting on performances like this in 4WC is very impressive.
Yeah, we saw him pop off on the free mod too as well with that hard rock. Put up a very, very good score there alongside Extremities. So not super surprising to see him do this on another high circle size pick, right? That free mod 2 was CS7. This is actually lower circle size than that free mod 2 with hard rock. So yeah, very different style of map. Just shows comfort on the hard rock and on precision in general. 720k is ahead of the next best score by 250,000 points from Sabakan. Does finally get up at that 500k mark, but another margin convincing victory by Australia. 265,000 score for them. Just don't pay attention to Delcora, and Dumb Andy and O/Slash looking very, very strong on that map.
Yeah, that was very, very well done there. Both the 0 misses from Sabakan and Dumb Andy, two of the new blood for both of these countries. But I mean, that was looking a bit scarier. Dumb Andy was on 726k, and then he thankfully 100'd the last note. That could have been a predicament. But yeah, I mean, Australia take it home again with, I mean, one of the strongest looking maps they've played so far in the match. Like that was ridiculous. At some point in that match, they had 3 FCs on a map that looked, I'm not gonna lie, like one of the hardest maps to FC so far that we've seen. That map looked really, really tough to get a big combo on. So very well done there from Dumb Andy, as well as Sabakan actually putting up pretty damn good performance for Japan. But now, like we were saying before, what is Japan going to pivot into? And you called it, Dio. It's going to be No Mod 1.
I mean, I think it just makes sense. Everything except for No Mod 5 has all been the same kind of flow aim control stuff. Like, you got to pick something different. You're surely not picking the No Mod 3. It's got to be one of these just pure mechanics picks. And if you're not super comfortable on the speed, just picking the basic aim mechanics seems right. So No Mod 1, no surprise, at least to me here. To see this sort of map picked up by Japan. Just 200 BPM, 7.3 star aim consistency. Aim champ.
Aim champ.
Time. Man after, whoever writing the comments, man after my own heart.
Yeah, here we go. No Mod 1. We love seeing just 4 minutes of pure unadulterated 7-star aim. And here it is. Nothing but aim. Curious to see the lineups. I mean, generally not the type of map we get to see very often in 4v4. It's just something like a No Mod 1. It's always just not picked. So haven't actually, don't know if we've even seen the Australian roster play a No Mod 1 this tournament so far, if I'm honest. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but for Japan, I'm not sure. So curious to see the rosters here for the No Mod 1.
This sort of map as well, I think, is a little deceptive with the star rating. I think this is actually just harder than 7.3 stars. I think this is more like a 7.5 star map. This is, yeah, it's 200 BPM, but the spacing on this can get really insane. Really, when you get above 7 stars, No Mod 1 aim consistency tends to start being a little underrated a little bit. And somehow random 5-note bursts start to take over the star rating, which is a little silly. Yeah. So we'll see who's really comfortable on that aim right now. We've got Polar, Bromothal Blue, O/Slash, and Dumb Andy for Australia, looking to close it out, clean sweep Japan out of the tournament. And Japan looking to start up a comeback here. 4-, Rikuyama Mitage, and Nobuchi in for them.
Not actually seeing Outline in for this No Mod 1. Perhaps not really feeling it today. Because, you know, with No Mod 1s, generally, you don't really, there's not like this 4-man roster we 100% expect to see into this No Mod 1. Generally, it's 1, maybe 2 players that are like, yeah, they're in on this No Mod 1 no matter what. And then the other players is kind of just like, all right, who's feeling it? Who's feeling No Mod 1 right now? And, you know, Outline perhaps not feeling it on this No Mod 1. Gonna have 4-, Rikuyama Mitage, and Nobuchi coming in for them, and hoping to see Japan get a point on the board at the very least.
And I think 4- is having some tech issues, so we'll probably just see an abort here, literally on 0 score. So yeah, does make sense. We're gonna see that abort.
I thought it was
timeout call
client
from Japan as well. Yeah, I thought that was his client at first, and then I saw his cursor pop up.
Playing.
Yeah. I saw his cursor pop up a second later, and I was like, "Oh, that's not a client bug." Oh god. So, yeah, I'm gonna see. I guess a timeout for Japan here, and maybe a roster swap as 4-, apparently not having the best time with the setup during this Nomad 1.
Looks like he may have like restarted, so hopefully he's chilling now.
Not gonna lie, I've already forgotten who the fourth member for Australia was. Goldfish member back. I think it was Dumandi, but I don't remember. It was Dumandi. Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. I also had a Goldfish memory for a second. I was like, wait, who was it? Yeah, I believe it was Dumandi. Assuming we should be getting it underway again very shortly. Come on, Andy. This is going to leave, even if Japan do happen to take this point, I think it's still going to leave them in a pretty tough position, because like we were saying before, Australia, they've still got so many picks in this pool, I'm not going to lie. Or at least a few. And if for Japan, it's looking like, you know, if they win this, probably go DT1 next. That's the obvious pick if you win this, but you've still got to get through Australia's, you know, another 2 or 3 picks from Australia to even bring it to tiebreaker. Well, another 2 picks from Australia to even bring it, so it's going to be a tough road ahead for them, but it starts with one map.
Yeah, one map at a time for Japan right now. That's all you can say. Just keep, you know, one map at a time. You got to win every single one, so no point thinking about the future at this point. Just think about this particular map and how you can win this one. So for now, it's Nomad 1. Same rosters. Getting into it once again. JGLF. Surely they get into it in a second, right? Like, surely. /wake up. Oh boy. All right, there we go. Okay, into the map once again now for what could be the last map or what could be the start of a comeback. Nomad 1, very rare to see in 4v4 tournaments, and just not wanting to load in here. And do we have yet more technical difficulties? And he's not in the lobby anymore. All right, that's probably another report. Yeah, that should be another report from the referee here. And we're gonna get another one. Hello?
Absolute disaster.
And yeah, we're gonna watch the 4WC logo bounce around the screen for a little bit now, as there's not much more to do at this point.
Oh my god, man. But thankfully, I think you get. Is it like one abort or something per map? I don't remember what standard rules are.
I think it's one per team per match. That's usually what it is. So both teams using their abort on the same map. I think we also need timeout. Yeah, we can only talk about Nomad 1 for so long, guys. Like, there's only so much you can say about this before we start repeating ourselves.
Perhaps now having issues, I think, as he may have disappeared. I saw JGLF jump in the lobby there for a sec. But they're saying he's back, so... Oh, played the full map.
Oh, what?
On the first one. So he didn't get aborted. Okay,
well, that's unlucky.
Does that replay, or do we just play 3v4 and add /'s score? I don't actually know.
I think you just replay. Nobody else was playing at all, and knowing the score your opponent has on it can influence how well you play, the nerves or expectations on a map. True. So I think you're just replaying the map entirely.
Unfortunate for /. He got 800k apparently. It's very well done.
Yeah, it's very sad.
I hate to see him get like a 400k now. That would be heartbreaking. I've just been watching this 4WC logo, just waiting for it to hit the corner.
Yeah. I think I think it's made so that it just never hits the corner. By the way, I think that's intentional. I'm pretty sure that's intentional. It just never hits the corner anywhere. I'm pretty sure I've seen Shadoos talk about that before. He just programmed it to never hit the corners. But yeah, I don't know how that happens. Really unfortunate for O/Slash that you just don't get that score and you play through the whole. Good practice run. Good practice run.
Yeah. Practice run.
But yeah, very unfortunate that the abort somehow didn't work for O/Slash.
I always have this weird theory when I used to play tournaments more actively, where I would keep practicing a map, have good runs, and then I would keep practicing it until I got a really bad run, and then I would stop playing there, because then I know I've wasted the bad run, and then when I play in match, I know I'm going to pop off.
Right, it's like you don't want to set the full combo, right before match, because that's wasting the good run,
Exactly. Yeah. So hoping the reverse doesn't happen to O/Slash here, and he's just wasted the good run, and then he just gets a 300k. would be kind of funny.
That'd be tragic. But hopefully that doesn't happen for O/Slash. Hopefully he gets a similar score, maybe not 800k for Japan's sake, but hopefully he gets a similar enough score that it's not that bad. All right, yeah, looks like we're just gonna get the full replay here. So both teams should be ready to go at this point. Finally, we should be into the No Mod 1. There we go. Everybody loaded in. Nobody gone. And we actually get Mitage in for Japan as well. We had I don't even think there were any roster swaps. I think it's just
I think it's the same 8.
Yeah, I think it's the same 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 4- leave earlier on. Yeah, okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
you weren't lying about this big aim. Even early in the map, the aim already looking pretty brutal in this intro. Hala finding a miss, so does Damandi. 4- as well, so it is going to favor Japan out of the intro, but really big aim early on.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was saying about these, low, mid, 7-star maps on No Mod. This aim is not properly represented by star rating anymore. This used to be, I think, like 7.6 stars or something, maybe a little overstarred, but this is what a 7.3 star No Mod map looks like. This is why people complain about No Mod PP at higher rank ranges, because it's impossible.
Oh,
there goes O/Slash. There goes Rikuima as well on those big jumps. It's just Mitage holding the only combo in the lobby now, but nobody else on Japan with any combo really. It's 4- on 200 combo, and that's it. So if Mitage drops here, it goes instantly over to Australia. Palar and Damandi both on pretty big combo, and there goes Mitage and 4-. Nobody above 100 on Japan, and Damandi and Palar both holding on to very good combos at the moment. Unfortunately, a couple of early misses here for O/Slash. Probably not getting that 850k this run. But the rest of the team there to pick up some slack as more and more misses come through for Japan.
I mean, like, these are just quite literally cross screens at 200 BPM, man. This is looking so brutal. I'm not surprised. We've seen so many combo drops already, but Australia are kind of just blowing Japan out of the water right now with these 2 600 combos and the recovery from O/Slash. It's just, even that recovery from O/Slash is higher than Japan's biggest combo on Rikuima right now. As we move into the next Ki at the halfway section, it's looking a little bit grim for Japan, but a few misses here from Australia in this Ki section could spell all the difference.
That's if they miss, though. Rikuima and 4- missing once again. It's just Mitage and Nobuchi now, and both of them lower combo than, I was going to say anyone on Australia, but Bromical Blue there making that a little bit untrue. 3 out of 4 members, though, for Australia, higher than the best combos on the side of Japan. Palar, Damandi, and O/Slash all holding on to these big combos, and a 275,000 score lead for Australia in the works right now, closing in on 300k. And 2/3 of the way through the map with a little bit of free combo during your slowdown section as well. You just don't get that really high strain aim, so better for Australia here, the team with those big combos going into this section, as missing here would be pretty troll for either of these rosters. You should not miss in this section. Definitely on some of these 1/3 you can miss in this section with the higher spacing, but neither roster missing so far. A couple of act drops here and there. Nobody finding any drops during that part, and now back into the big aim once again.
How did no one miss on that last 1/3 burst? That looked like it was just an awkward kind of curve. I'm very surprised to see 8 players.
It definitely
hold
is, having played this map.
Yeah. Yeah. So very impressive to see 8 combos through that section. But I mean, a 2 1100 combos for Australia and the 850 and climbing from O/. It's just so hard for Japan to do anything with about 1/8 of the map remaining and a full and total collapse from Japan. Australia are going to run away with the 6-0 and 2 practically FCs. I mean, Dumb Andy is right there. He's very close.
Yeah, nothing Japan can do at this point. 800,000 score lead for Australia. The biggest score lead we've seen all match to close it out. A 6-0 sweep for the Australians. 800k from Paler and Dumb Andy on this map. O/, not quite 850k, but 700k. Going to be better than anybody on the side of Japan as well. Max score for them only 530k. So 3 members on Australia better than the best score on Japan, and by a pretty wide margin, nearly 200k up for O/ over Mitage. So massive score lead for Australia on that last pick, and they will take it 6-0. I think a much more one-sided affair than either of us were expecting going into this match. I definitely expected Japan to be able to make this close, even if it was, slightly favored to Australia at the start here. But Australia 6-0, super clean at the end of this match.
Yeah, not actually an FC there from Paler, unfortunately. It was the one miss, the reverse choke from both Paler and Dumb Andy, missing right at the start. But I mean, really, really super impressive No Mod 1 scores across the board. That's like very crazy to see. On a No Mod 1, by the way, that looks, like you said, kind of just looks like a 7.6 star map. Like that looked really hard. Australia putting up the numbers. That's a crazy 6-0 performance. I'm very excited to see this Australian roster possibly go up against Canada in the following match. Of course, it is going to be Canada versus Taiwan to start first. Not sure when that match is going to be played, but, Seed 3, Seed 21. My favorites, of course, for that match are going to be the Canadians, but if Taiwan go through, then, hey, that's also going to be a crazy match if Taiwan can somehow beat Canada in a semi-finals pool at this stage in the tournament. So either way, very excited to see this Australian roster go up against a very, very scary team, especially after losing only 6-3 to USA and putting up a pretty solid performance against them last week. They're just looking really, really good, and curious to see if they can outperform their position from last year.
Yeah, absolutely. For now, that is going to be it for us. We have another match coming up in just a moment. France versus Singapore, also in the losers bracket, so don't go anywhere. This match should also be a good one, but we're going to have a quick streamer swap. So we're going to swap out streamers for just a second here. In the meantime, thank you all for watching. Thank you once again to Blue Bunny for sponsoring the 3-Digit World Cup. If you want to get some high-quality tablet covers, you can check out their website and use code 4WC for 10% off your order. And if you enjoy watching the 4-Digit World Cup and just want to contribute to the prize pool, contribute to running the tournament, then you can donate to the 4-Digit World Cup directly through Open Collective. But that's going to be it for us for now. Thank you, everyone, once again for watching. We'll be back in just a minute with France versus Singapore. Congratulations to Australia, and thank you to HoaQ, of course, for streaming, and to Mavs for the cast. We'll see you in a minute.
Take care.